Hello, friends. I'm coming at you once again from Remington's annual conference. The incredible Chris Green is with me. You know Chris from being on No Vacancy all the time, and of course in his role at Remington Hospitality as president. It's so good to see you enjoying this conference so much, man.
Yeah, thanks. You've done a great job, Glenn,
Thanks.
as always.
I appreciate it.
We're heading into the awards gala tonight. I'm super excited, guys. Thank you for just tuning in and listening. You know, here at Remington, we really care about celebrating our people, and we had an incredible year in 23. I think 24 is going to be, I've said it before, a grind, but we were getting them ready, getting them pumped up to go.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a grind, and you've said that before, and you've been very public about it. But what I really liked about this this conference was you were addressing the reality and then already providing solutions and assistance to the team members on the ground in order for them to be more successful.
Well, that's our role, right? I mean, we are a support for the field. Anybody who thinks that the corporate is most important is wrong. And you know me, it's always been that way. We've got to make sure the field is where everything happens. And I don't do anything to make any money at corporate. Everybody makes it in the field and take care of our people. So that's what we talk about, is how do we, on the ground, make a difference.
Well, that's not true. He does charge me for every time he's on the show.
That's not true. It's not true. Wait, you owe me some money.
That's true. So it's great to be here and supporting the team. But I got to tell you, I know there was a big announcement at the end. I don't want to step on the lead over here.
There was a big announcement.
Listen, I was there. I think I heard it, but honestly, it doesn't feel real.
It doesn't feel real to me either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we announced today that I am going to be retiring from my role at Remington Hospitality.
Yep.
I'm going to take this summer and some time and spend time with the family. It's been a long run, a good run. And I've had a great time here, great people, but you know, it's also a lot. And we have great leaders, and they're ready to go. And so the best thing you can do as a leader is get your company ready for the next generation. And I know Remington is ready.
They are, but why now? I know everybody's going to be asking that. You're still at the age where a lot of us just want to keep pushing forward in whatever path we've chosen, but now you're going to like shake that up after taking some time off.
Yeah, I just thought, I'm 54, and I thought, there's a lot of things I want to do that being fully committed to being the president of one of the largest management companies is not something that you can do these other things with, right? So I took an opportunity to do something that I always wanted to do, which was write a book. And I want to do some public speaking. I want to do some traveling with my wife and kids and family. And I'm looking forward to that. I told my 11-year-old, she said, "Dad, this is going to be so weird having you home." I said, "Listen, we're going to have the best summer ever." And I've been working since I was 18, Glenn. So that's a long run.
I'll tell you, it is so exhausting getting out there every single day. And you've been flying and putting your all into it. But I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision to come to, even though in 6 months from now, you're probably going to feel like you're in a really good place.
It was incredibly difficult. And even today, there's definitely a tearing away. I mean, for those of you that are watching and that know me, hospitality is... I think you say Chris Green and people think hospitality, I hope. And that's not an ego thing, it's just all I've ever done. And so there's a tearing away, and there's going to be probably a grieving process.
For sure.
It's something I've never experienced, but we'll see what's on the other side.
We will. Well, one thing that's on the other side is you happen to mention it. We got right here, The River Guide to Leadership. My man over here wrote a book. I am so proud of you for writing this book. I know how hard and challenging it is to do it, and you really put everything that you have learned over your career into this, this little manual story here. So I want to talk about how it's framed, but first, before we get into that, what made you want to share all of your lessons through this? And by the way, River Guide to Leadership available now on Amazon.
Thanks for the sale. Thanks for the plug. I did. I don't know if I fully formed the idea until maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but I give a speech called The Riverbanks to every new hotel we take on. And I talk about this trip I took on the river and how a river is a lot like a business. And it just came down to the fact that when I thought back on this trip on the river back 25 years ago, it was a great way to talk about leadership and kind of correlate these things that happen, looking down river, seeing the rapids. And as you notice, if you can hold that up for a second, Glenn,
absolutely.
if you notice,
that's actually
not
him
to give it away, that's
friends.
me right there in the front there. And then if you think about it, the leader of that trip, he's in the back. Looking down river, sitting a little higher from experience and knowing what's happening. So you take a journey with me and my friends down the river, but also a journey of some 35 years in leadership.
But also, you're able to apply this to all of the things that people need to do in their lives in order to be leaders. And you talked about how you're kind of with the people in the same boat, and you're not necessarily able to decide who those are going to be, although it was your friends in this particular case.
It was, but I think it's important I do talk about picking who's in your boat. And even though those were my friends, they were in my boat because I trusted them.
Right.
And that's why you should live your life. I talked today, I gave a keynote today at the leadership conference, and I said to everybody, you got to be careful who's in your boat, and if they're not going to row in the right direction, you really need to think about if they belong there. So it's okay to have dissenting opinions, but to get anywhere and get anywhere fast, we've experienced such great success at Remington Hospitality and my prior organization, and that was because we were rowing in the same direction. And so you've got to have people that are for your good, that want to go the same place you're going, and are willing to put in the work.
Yeah, so what motivates you as a leader?
Seeing people thrive, seeing people win. I mean, I shared my personal statement today of how I live my life, and it's 3 words: advocate for good. And I think if you really drill down into advocating for good, whether it's for your family, for the world, for others, for your associates, how can that be wrong? If I'm out for your good, and I think if somebody asked you, if was Chris Green for your good, what would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. You have been nothing but incredible. You're just such a giving personality out there, putting it all on the line.
Well, I hope that's what I want people to remember.
Yeah.
And so that's what's part of the book too, is I hope that, not me, it's not an ego thing, it's this worked for me. I'm coming to the end or near the end of a great career. These things work, so hopefully they'll work for somebody else.
Yeah, they will. All right, so what advice would you give to people that are coming up through their careers to be able to, ascribe to the way you like to lead that'll help them, become a leader?
Know yourself first. You've really got to be authentic.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people today, we're even forced into thinking that you've got to be something else. The Instagram culture and the comparison culture. You got to be who you were made to be, because living in conflict with yourself, you won't ever get where you want to go. So that's the first thing.
Let me just put one pin in that, because the more authentic I have allowed myself to be, the more successful I've become. And I grappled with that for a long time, because I thought that we were supposed to be something as opposed to being someone.
You were made to be exactly who you are.
Right, but it takes a little while to get to understand and accept that,
I hate that though, so that's my goal. If you can read my book or you can listen to these podcasts and short circuit that and do it I didn't learn it until I was maybe late 30s. I mean, truthfully, I was pursuing who I thought I needed to be as a hotel leader and a good GM and a firm guy. And until I started leading with my heart, which is how Chris Green is wired, that's when I saw success. And I wasn't even pursuing success. I was just trying to be authentic. And then success came.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest tip, is figure out who you really are. Look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth, and then go be that.
Right. What else?
Well, you got to crush it. I mean, that's the thing. So if you're going to be in hospitality, you do have to put in the work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way around that. You've got to be willing to. You really got to be the guy or the lady that says, we need somebody to run the banquet on Saturday night. Got it. We got somebody that needs to go meet this client. Got it. We need someone to learn the new sales process. Got it. But you can accelerate. There's never been a time in our business when you could become a GM or a VP faster than today. In my day, it took 4 or 5 years if you were really good, to become a GM, and then another 5 to 10 years to become a VP. Now, I bet it's half that time if you're really committed. So.
Right, and if you want to be successful in anything, you have to put in the hard work. And the hardest part about that is you don't necessarily see the dividends right away. And we're in a very instant gratification kind of universe. So it's hard to say, I'm doing this today for 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah. I think the thing that short circuits people, and I see it all the time, is followership is a form of leadership.
Right.
And so being a great follower, even if you don't like your boss, I got this great advice from somebody. I think it's in my book. I think it says, you're learning whether you're always learning, good or bad, right? And so you should have a notebook that says, I'm learning this, but I'll never do this to my people. That's still learning, but you still should follow, and you still should learn, and you should pour into that job until such time as you have another opportunity. Because if you're the person that constantly complains about, I don't like Glenn, he's a bad boss, you're definitely not going to be considered for the next role. But if you're the person that's like, I don't think Glenn's the greatest boss, but I'm keeping that internal and I'm just going to crush it for Glenn, you're going to be an irresistible force for promotion.
Yeah, right. And then you might have a different boss that actually treats you right, unlike me. Ask my team.
Yeah. Don't worry for Glenn. His team, right?
Yeah. All right. So, is there any other points that you want to make before we move on to the next thing?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest industry. I'm just so thankful that I was in it and have had to experience it, and being at conferences like this, seeing 300-400 leaders at a place and celebrating them is just, it's life-giving and exciting and makes me proud.
Are you worried that you're not going to be able to figure out how to relax?
Yes, and so is my wife.
Right.
So I have a hard time relaxing already, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to try. I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited. Any final thoughts for our friends out there?
Thank you, all of you guys. I mean, I got to spend the pandemic with you and I think that was cathartic and life-giving to me to be able to talk about it. And just thank you for letting me have a voice. Who would have thought the child of a military enlisted man and just a small family would have had the opportunity to be part of such a great business and have a voice in something so special. So
yeah,
thank you to you, my friend.
Thank you. You're an absolutely amazing person. I don't think I could have gotten through the pandemic without you. Seeing you on the show 2, 3, 4, it seemed like every single day was absolutely amazing. But more importantly than that, I've really enjoyed the friendship that we've created over all these years over here. I'm going to miss seeing you on the road at all of these events, but I know that we're always going to be in touch, and I know that you're probably going to be in a much happier place than waiting on a buffet line at a conference. Chris Creed, you're an amazing human being. And thanks to all of you guys. And one thing you could do is make sure you get this book. I absolutely loved it, and you can too. And I'm not just saying that because my name's on the back of this thing. All right, thanks everybody. Subscribe to No Vacancy, do all of that kind of stuff, and shout out to this guy over here. Tell him how amazing he is, and thank him for everything. We love you guys, and we'll see you.